This is the Stiletto Talk. Topic today is all about dating and healing. So my two guests, I'll give you the opportunity to introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Dominique Johnson Farmer. I am a mother, pharmacy tech, and you can find me at Journey to Dom. That's JOURNEY, the number two DOM, on all social media platforms. I'm mostly on Instagram.
Awesome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sherika Bell, and I'm coming to you from Cali. Hello. I work with 6th through 12th graders, and you can find me mostly on Instagram, Sherika Janae.
Well, thank y'all. I'm so excited to talk about dating. What a hot topic that we're going to be talking about today. So before we get started, let's understand your status, where we are. Are you dating? Are you married? Are you single? Are you kind of single? Kind of tell us what your status is.
I am married.
Okay. How long have you been married?
About, you're going to kill me, child. 5 years.
Okay. Awesome.
I am single and out there. I'll just say that. I'm actually divorced. So that's I guess an interesting place to start. And I've been divorced for 1 year.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure it's been a healing journey in both. Being divorced, also being married, kind of that transition. I'm married as well. So there's been a big transition of being married. It's I think it's something that you just have to learn to kind of get your way and your groove into that. So I think it's healing in all of it. In whatever, relationship status you're in. So the first question I want to explore is, why do some women ignore red flags during the early stages of a relationship? So I mean, like the first time you swipe right or the first time you meet somebody, why do you think women ignore the red flags?
I actually believe that it's potential. We fall in love so much with the potential of this. He has this, he has that, or she has this, she has that. And then we start to envision what it would be like to be on the first date or the third or even having a baby before we even have a really good conversation. So I feel like people fall in love with potential and they just, I'm not going to make a big deal about that. I'm not going to bring that up. Mm-hmm. We're having such a good time. I'm not going to do this and do that, and we let it slide until it becomes a big thing. We should have handled it in the beginning.
Yeah. And then I think for me, just from my personal experience, I know for me, being in a relationship and married young, you think like, oh, this person will grow out of, whatever, we can work through it together. I have my stuff, they have theirs, we're young, we'll, work it out. And honestly, those same things that you start off seeing like, okay, this is kind of an issue, it for me was the same thing that kind of ended things. So it was just that thought of like, once you decide to be in a relationship, there's no excuse of like, oh, we're young. It's like, no, but we're in a relationship. So I think that I agree with the potential part too, is, we see past what someone is actually showing us. And just now knowing that for me, like I'm a person who's like, oh, I'll work with you. We can, figure it out. So that's another thing, is like being so willing to help a person, along their journey.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I can relate to a lot of that. I think for me, it was the fear of being alone. I think at one point I just did not want to be by myself. I don't know where it came from. Well, I do know where it came from, but I just did not want to be by myself. And I see that a lot of women is like, I would rather have this than be by myself. So I think that's something that's really big. What are some of the red flags? So we're talking about these red flags that people may see. What are some of the early red flags you think?
I think it's also that like, we want to be together all the time. We spend all the time together. And it's like, no, I have a life and you have a life. So we need to figure out how to come together and balance what we have going on. Just always wanting to be up under each other, oh, let's go here, let's go there. We're always doing this, we're always doing that. And not having, I guess, that healthy separation. Another thing I've noticed, I think I've become very aware of narcissistic personalities. And so having things where it's like, no, it's always about the other person or whatever. And it's small little things, but it could be where, I'm going to always pick where we eat, or I'm going to always pick this. And so just noticing those little things. And I think um, sometimes it feels like I'm being hypersensitive to, those small little things, but I've learned kind of the hard way. I think, no, pay attention to it all. There's a reason why all of these things are happening. So those are just a few. I mean, I know there's like a long laundry list, but I think the biggest one is like always wanting to be together.
Yeah. Always. Clinginess.
Yeah. That attachment.
What about you, Dominique? I know that you're married now, but before you got married, I'm pretty sure, what was the road like for you? What were some of the red flags you saw before you found your person?
Always making yourself uncomfortable to make other people comfortable. Those boundaries, setting those boundaries, letting things slide. Like, oh, that's nothing to me. It's okay if you want to keep changing my radio station in my car and not asking me. But just always making yourself smaller to make the other person comfortable. That's the biggest red flags I had when I was younger. Because I always felt like, it's no big deal to me. But eventually the person is always going to feel like, oh, she let me get away with this. Then I'm going to get away with that. And it becomes snowballed until you just lost yourself in the whole situation.
Exactly. Those small things become big. Become really big things. Yeah, I agree. What about this evolution of dating in like on the web and dating kind of electronically? I know that we've been in a pandemic where, dating shifted to, well, I think maybe even before the pandemic, dating shifted to an online convenience way of doing things. So what do you feel about noticing red flags when you're seeing someone behind a screen and you're not really having that in-person feel yet? What are some of those red flags?
So since I'm out here, as of recently, this dating app, Instagram, Facebook dating, I mean, it works for some. It's just not my flow because number one, I'm not like the small talky type of person. And so I don't like all the questions and your favorite color and where do you like to eat and all that stuff. And so I've just noticed in conversation, first of all, through Instagram, it's like, I can't, if you would like to have a conversation with me, you can ask me for my phone number or there's a way, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, this social media, I think, has crippled people from just actually being able to communicate, to come together and communicate. And I get it, pandemic and COVID and all that stuff. But I'm starting to notice just conversation is not it's not of substance to me. And that's just who I am. So it's like, if you're not even engaging me really online, then I don't know if I can go and sit with you at a dinner and, hold a conversation. So that just for me personally, I've come in contact with personalities that I'm trying to move away from. So very like forceful, let's do this and I'll send you this ticket and I see you're here, let me send you this money. And so just that thing of like, let me reel you in with money now. It's like, I don't need all of that. So just those little signs where I'm like, why are you so controlling or persistent or ready to just hand off money and you don't even, know me? Just those little things right there where it's like, okay, what happened before to where you feel like you have to pull me in with, I have all the things, I have all this money, I have designer shoes and I drive a Tesla or, whatever, like what's going on?
I think we've lost the art of conversation due to convenience. And texting, all that. Honestly, I met my husband on Black People Meet.
Oh, I never heard of that one.
Yeah, years ago. I've known him for over 12 years. So to me, online dating back then was a lot different because then you could weed out the crazies from the people that you actually want to talk to because I could just click you off. But when it comes to coming outside of that, because we text so much or we do things so quickly, it's a lost art. It's a very different time we live in, and I feel like the next generation is starting to fall into that.
Yeah. The convenience, dating now being a convenience factor. I feel like that just pulls out the connection for a lot of things. Is when we're trying to do things out of convenience. I enjoy the make the effort. Let's go and meet and talk in person versus let's sit behind an app. And I didn't meet my wife on an app either. I was over it. By the time I met her, I was over the whole app thing. I was barely even on Instagram at that point. Like, I don't want to see, swipe, tap, nothing else for anybody. I just did not want to do that. But it does feel like now it's just like that's the convenient thing. Like you said, Dominique, the texting and losing, people now don't even want to talk on the phone. They're like, I text me. It's like memes I see, like, can this be, is this textable? And it's like, what? Yeah. How can you have a full conversation and truly get to know somebody through text message? So yeah, absolutely.
And then I know for me, I was on an app for 22 hours. And after 22 hours, I was like, I'm over this. I'm over, the sitting and swiping and kind of having to figure out, like, just based off of the little information that they give. And I don't know. It's like you're saying, it takes the interaction. I'm more of a body language. I like to read your body language, your facial expressions, things like that. But if I notice something early on, then now I'm like, no, I'm cool. So a part of it is kind of helpful where it's like, okay, I know that online, dating is not my thing. But the other side of it is if I wanted to be open to that, it's just, you don't know who is being, like, if they really look like their picture that they was this whole catfish thing. And so it's just a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
You would think catfishing would be over in this day and age, but it's not.
It's not. No, and even the catfish, maybe it's not even the look. I see like a lot of catfish where it's like, oh, the person looks different. I think people can portray this life and portray this level of like healing, and you get catfished by, now you realize they still dealing with a lot of trauma. They really ain't let their ex go. They still got all this stuff. So I feel like catfishing is very, very real, and in so many ways beyond you show up and you like 4 feet tall versus you said 2. Like, that may not even be as bad as you telling me, oh, I'm over my ex, I'm doing these things, and you still in contact. Like that's a lot.
Right.
So as we're still talking about this dating, let's shift down to what are some key qualities that women should look for in a partner. So we've explored the convenience dating, that this era we're in convenience dating, but what are some good qualities? What do we do? What should we be looking for in partners?
Number one, I think it's respect. First thing, even if we don't take it any further, you can respect me and respect my mind, my ideas, and I can do the same for you. That's one huge one. Even if we stay friends, respect has to be there.
Absolutely.
I think one big one for me is being willing to grow, being willing to deal with the things that need to be dealt with. So even if you don't know, again, if it comes up, it's like, okay, I see you working on it, whether you're watching, YouTube videos to help, or podcasts, or therapy, or whatever, just being willing to deal with life. Like, life is happening all around us. There's so much going on. So just being willing to face and deal with life is a big one for me.
Absolutely. So when you think about respect, Dominique, what does that look like? How does that translate of someone being respectful of you?
Giving me the space to be vulnerable.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah. A lot of times people tend to shut you off because they don't know how to deal with it. So I think that's for me, because when I feel something, I am going to tell you. I will be respectful, but I'm still going to express myself.
Yeah, right.
I'm not going to be mean or whatever, but I can't do it. And when it's another person that has a hard time with that, it kind of frustrates me. Even if I slow down, say, look, this is XYZ. I'm not trying to attack you. I'm just trying to teach you. And that kind of, that frustrates me a whole lot. I need to feel like I have an open door, especially if we're supposed to be partners.
Yeah,
Right. I need to feel like I can come to you this way.
absolutely. For sure. When you think about respect of time, I think that's something that's really big for me. I do agree, respect wholeheartedly. And I think also respecting my time. So if you know immediately that we are not compatible, or you know you cannot keep up with me, or you know that you are just not it for me, don't try to play the role. Respect me enough to let me go back out in the ocean and find another fish. Like, I feel like it just has to be that respect of my time. If you feel like something, like, you all have that feeling like this isn't gonna really last, or I know that this is something that's gonna bother me. Like, I'm gonna be respectful to say it to you, and I expect you to be respectful to say it to me, to be able to protect my time. Because there's a lot of people wasting a lot of time out here.
Yep. And I think too, along with time, it's also the many roles that I play in my life. And so, like you're saying, if you know you can't keep up, I'm personally me, I'm a mother, work full time. At one point I was in school, like this, so all just so many things. And so it's like not just time of, if you see something, but also respect the roles that I play, respect the things that I do in my life, and not, oh, well, you spend too much time over here, or you spend too much. And I understand there's a balance, but just there's a way to, I think, interact with a person and understand that they play so many roles, not to take it personal, but to, understand this is what it is. If you can't get with it, then like Kay is saying, respect my time and excuse yourself. No hard feelings.
Yeah. There's a lot of, and being a therapist, I think I see the other side of things, of people coming, and I'm like, both people. So, the person that's wasting someone's time, and the other person that is on the other end of that. It's just like communication will really just clear all this up for you.
Right.
You just communicate how you're feeling and what you're thinking. It will be good, but there's a lot of people wasting time. So many times I've seen people get in relationships, they come to couples counseling because they're like, well, this person, I don't even know this person anymore. But it's like, you knew who I was when you decided to engage in a relationship with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Communication's another big one. Having those difficult conversations, letting people know, this is a boundary and it's going to stay a boundary. Letting somebody know when your feelings are hurt or I misunderstood. Just the simple things that people kind of, again, like we were talking about, you kind of overlook it, but it's like, no, we need to talk about it, because then it becomes something bigger, and now we're fighting about something that really is not what it was, but because we didn't communicate down here, now this is going on. So I'm just really big on conversation. I don't like confrontation, but let's talk about it. Let's talk through it and see where we can find some common ground with whatever it is that's going on.
Absolutely. And I think even communicating expectations comes up too. Just thinking about, what are your expectations? Like, I expect us to date in this way, have this type of quality time, even sex, talking about, this is my expectation. So you already know, having that conversation up front. So it's somebody being blindsided in the end when you're kind of in the thick of the relationship.
Yeah,
for sure. Quality, I've heard boundaries, communication, respect. Do you think there's anything else that women should have on their radar as a quality to look for in a good long-term partner?
Self-accountability.
Oh, okay.
That is one for me. If you can look at the situation after, of course, emotions run high and they calm down. Look at the situation 360, see what part you played, I see what part I played, and we can come into the middle for a solution. Today, I feel like self-accountability is nowhere to be found. Unfortunately, it is not. It's always somebody else's fault, and this person's fault, and this is why I'm like this. And it's huge. It's huge in a relationship. In all relationships, actually.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. This leads me to the last question I think is very important in regards to generational patterns. So what do you think are some generational patterns that have influenced dating, the way people date?
Not speaking. not speaking about what's really going on. In my family, the women were not to talk about sexual things, were not to talk about what was really going on in their life. It was just, oh, well, you're depressed. Why are you depressed? You got so many things to do, and this, that. And it became harmful to a lot of us because things could have been prevented if we all were able to openly communicate. That is a big one. That is, yeah, especially for us. I had to learn to break that between myself and my daughter.
Oh, yeah.
And now she's open. She's open to talk to me about a lot of things. And I'm grateful for that because, especially having a 19-year-old that is, she can feel like she's grown. But I'm glad that she still feels like she can come to me about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think a big thing is this like alpha female mindset. I know growing up in a divorced household, I saw my mom do it all, even when she did get remarried. And so I think a lot of women have taken pride in being alpha female, but it also has its downfalls to where you have a hard time being led and allowing a man to come in and help and, be the man. And so that's one thing that I know that I have been trying to work on as of recently. And that comes with a lot. It comes with, learning to be more vulnerable. It comes with speaking up and asking for help. It comes with, knowing, okay, well, I can handle this on my own, but if I want partnership, I have to find ways to navigate my life in a way that allows somebody to feel comfortable to help me handle things. So I think this, it's empowering to be this alpha female, but I think a lot of it, especially with social media, has gone way too far. It was like, I can do it myself. I don't need no man. I pay my own bills. I do. And it's like, yeah, but you, sis, like you want a man though, or a partner rather. And so it's like just having to dial that back a little bit and say, yes, it's nice to feel like I can take care of myself and my child or whatever else, but I also have to learn how to leave room for a partner. And so it's been interesting navigating that, just seeing that my whole life.
Yeah, I can relate to that tremendously. I think I was thinking about this before we jumped on here about this question, because I think the women in my family, they have often accepted less than they deserve. And there's this idea that once you're married or once you're in this relationship, you can accept all this abuse, you can accept all this stuff, and you cannot walk away. If you gotta stay, you gotta endure it. This is just what it is. And so a lot of women in my family are with people that they should not be with. Hands down, they should not be with. They don't deserve them. But it's just this I don't know if it's a mentality around marriage. Like marriage is just like, it can't end. You cannot end a marriage. But
that's religion. I think a part of it is religion. That's a big part.
Absolutely. It's very interesting to see. And I think that that's something that I had to get out of, though, is that, well, you're my person, so I kind of need to, like, you'll get better. It'll be okay. I'm just gonna, stick this out. But it's like, no, you shouldn't have to stick out a relationship.
Yeah.
It's just not the same. So I just feel like it's been very interesting to see people in my family still 20, 30 years still in the same shit show of a marriage that I'm pretty sure is very interesting to see. So but I do think generational patterns influence a lot of dating and even shifting to how we talked about earlier, dating kind of going into the modern dating is what I call it, what this is now. And, people wanting to be old school. So I'd imagine what dating is like for people in older generations, like 50-year-old single foxes out here trying to find somebody.
Yes.
What it's like being that we've shifted into this different generation of how we date. Well, I want to end with some advice. From what would you give some advice to a woman that is single right now, trying to go on this journey of healing herself and finding her soulmate? What advice would you give to her?
I would say date. Do not get stuck on one person. Date, please do, because I wish I had dated more when I was younger and I didn't. And it caused a lot of unnecessary pain, I guess, when I should have just date, learn myself, learn the experience, and grow from there.
Absolutely.
For me, I would say don't lose yourself. It's easy to get caught up in social media and, being out in the world and having fun and all of that stuff, but always put yourself first. And the more you take care of you, you deal with what needs to be dealt with in you, things start to and people start to weed themselves out. And it's okay that things and people start to weed themselves out. Don't hold on to it or try to pull it back in. If you're taking care of yourself and doing work for self, then everything else, for the most part, falls into place.
Absolutely. Also, that's some very great advice. I think that I will end on the advice of keep your standards high, but have fun with it. Have fun with dating. I feel like it's a process where you're getting to know other people, but during that, you're also getting to know yourself. There's so much you learn about yourself in your interactions with other people, especially intimate relationships. Have fun with it. This date that you go on, the next date does not have to be your husband or your wife.
Right.
Like, just get to know them, get to know yourself, have fun, and keep your standards high. Know that you are a prize and carry yourself in that way. If this doesn't work out with this person, that is okay. There will be somebody else. You keep your standards high. Don't say, well, I can maybe bend on this a little bit. No, keep it high and continue just to laugh. I feel like people are taking dating so seriously.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course you're going to be heartbroken if you're taking it so seriously, where you expect every date to be like, is this the one? Is this the one? Is this the one? Have some fun. I was having a great time when I was dating. That's one thing I was literally had this conversation with my wife a couple days ago. Is that when I was young and in my early 20s, I had a great time dating. I'm like, let's see. I want to date this type of person. Let's go this and do this. I think that is what kept it fun for me, kept it light for me. And if I stumbled across the right person, I did. If I didn't, I didn't. So yes, that is dating and healing. I want to thank you both for being a part of this first show. It's super amazing to get all of your opinions, having different walks of life. And I look forward to having future conversations.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for having me too.
I would love to have you as a guest on my show. So visit www.thestilettofiles.com and find out how.